Welcome to Speaking of Love, the podcast, with your host, Latoya. This podcast was created as a platform for spreading love. Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hi, Eric. Good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speaking of Love. My name is Latoya, and I am the host of this podcast. I am here today to bring love into our world. I have an amazing young man here today. He is here to talk to us about a very, very sensitive topic. His name is Eric Thomas, Eric Patrick Thomas to be exact, but he likes to be known as Mr. Inspire. He is a Flint, Michigan native and entrepreneur, and he's passionate about changing the way people view disabilities. His passion came after a fateful night in 1997 in which Eric suffered a spinal cord injury that paralyzed him from the neck down. Throughout his amazing and incredible journey, Eric uses his experiences to empower resilience and inspire change for people with barriers. Welcome to Speaking of Love, Eric Patrick Thomas, Mr. Inspire.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Almost good afternoon.
Yes, it is. It's just about afternoon. Eric, are you in Flint, Michigan right now?
I'm in Flint, Michigan right now. Right now in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, that's wonderful, Eric. Yes, I'm not too far from you. I'm also here in Michigan. Eric, we are going to have a wonderful interview today here. Thank you so much for being on my podcast. Just to give you all a little history about my podcast, Speaking of Love, is very sacred to me. This podcast was created in honor of my father, Herman McAlpin Jr. My father passed away tragically. He committed suicide, and he passed away on March 2nd of 2020. And my father was a radio TV broadcast engineer for many, many years in the city of Detroit. He had a beautiful career, and he once in his life had a sports radio show called Speaking of Sports. So I have adopted the name of my show, Speaking of Love, to honor my father. So all we're going to do today is talk about love, and we're going to talk about Mr. Inspire and how he used the love of his life, his incredible journey to persevere through his triumphs. So thank you for being here, Eric.
Thank you.
So Eric, talk to me. You're from Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
Talk to me about your life before the spinal cord injury that you suffered.
Ooh, the before the life. Growing up, my parents got divorced at an early age, right before I was 2. When I was a kid, I was always reading, or my mom would read to me, Mother Seuss and Dr. Seuss books. So I kind of fell in love with wordplay and rhyme time, like things that rhyme, And then my aunt, she loves musicals, so I fell in love with the acting out of a musical, like The Music Man or The West Side Story, or Singing in the Rain. I don't know, it's just something about it. You see me on the bed and jumping up and down on the record player. And those are some of the childhood memories that I could, take back, that I could think back right now. We moved around a lot, My dad got remarried. After that, and then he got divorced again, and then remarried, and so both of my parents are remarried, and both of them, my step parents have children of their own too. So I have siblings, and then my dad and my stepmom, they had a child, and so I also have a sister. We have the same dad. Yeah. So actually, she just came and visited me. Her and her boyfriend came in from California. They just came and visited me the other day. So It was awesome to see them,
Well, Eric, you have dedicated your life to helping others. You are a public speaker. You do motivational speaking. You've spoken before the House of Senate, and you sit on several different state boards as a voice for people with barriers. Can you talk to me about your activities as it relates to these activities?
Well, after I got out of rehab, um, I got set up with the Disability Network here in Flint. And so I was able to start hiring my own caregivers to provide care for me. And at that time too, Mr. Zelli's like, we need you to get involved. Like you're gonna be able to accomplish whatever you want to do. Just get involved. Like, tell your story, testify in front of the House, the Senate, long-term care. When they make Medicaid cuts, if you can share your story, we'll get you there. So that's how I've been able to speak, locally, in Lansing, and then also in Washington, D.C. I've been to the House, I've been to the Senate, I've gotten bills co-sponsored and sponsored and passed. There's a bill called Money Follows the Person that brought billions of dollars and got people out of nursing homes, and they still vote on it today, since mid-2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of advocacy. I've been involved ever since that I got back home. Like right when I came back home from rehab, it was like, anything to do with when their accessibility or making cuts for people with disabilities. Basically, like, taking away the quality of life of a person. I'm there, if I see something on the internet sometimes, I'll be like, yo, you need me yet? Like, is it time? Is it call for action yet? And they're like, no, it's just talk right now. All right, just let me know. Let me know because it's important. It's important for people to have a good quality of life, and have the
Yes,
resources. Some people are isolated. They don't realize like what life is around them because either nobody's brought the awareness to them, or they don't know the resource, or they just don't know. So then it's up to us that we're blessed to be able to have a circle of supports and resources and a voice. So we have to be out there for like the voice, the voice of the voiceless and the power of the powerless. So that's kind of the thing.
Eric,
that's isolation.
Yes, Eric, that's exactly what you have done. You have been a voice for the voiceless. You call yourself Mr. Inspire.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about the spinal cord injury and how it all changed your life?
Yeah, being a hip hop artist, I had my group Miscellaneous. We were celebrating our album release party or music project on September 20th of 97. So I went outside to check the parking lot to make sure everything was taken care of. Like people weren't in my neighbor's yards and things like that. And I came back to the house, and then maybe a few minutes afterwards, someone came around the DJ van, pulled a gun, pow, 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 pow. So instantly I got shot with the first bullet, right in my third and fourth vertebrae. And it shot me from the backside, so I turned my head. And then it looks like one spun out, like grazed the back of the skull. And I dropped to the ground. So I'm on the cement, looking up at the sky, in and out of consciousness. I'm unable to move anything. I'm unable to breathe. I'm unable to even cry for help. I'm unable to say, "Hey, help me!" Anything. I'm not able to communicate at all. So, and I'm not able to. I'm just struggling. And then I can hear the chaos. People screaming like outside. Someone's been shot. Eric's been shot, and then, people saving themselves and some people staying around. And I'm just laying there. I'm just like, and then I'm like, but I felt like unfinished. It felt like I needed, like there was more to achieve. Like it felt like I was almost at this goal, and then it just got taken away. But it seems like the first 20 years of my life, it seems like there's so many things that I went out to set to accomplish, and I missed it by that much. Something happened that changed the path of it, and so I felt like that too. At the same time, you have nothing to do, but nothing you could do but pray. Pray to survive. And then from there, I went into they took me to the hospital. Then they had to drill 4 screws in my head for a halo, and I had this cage around my head. And then they put tubes down my throat, and they intubated me. And before you know it, I'm waking up, and my mom and stepdad's there, and stepmom and dad are there, and some friends and medical. And when that's when they let you know that you're not able to move from the neck down, but you don't have time to think about that. You're trying to survive.
Right.
You're trying to survive. And I'm communicating with eye blinks at that time.
Well, Eric, you are such a tremendous honor. I became acquainted with you here through Facebook, and you have set so many goals for your life, and you have achieved those goals. And one of the goals that you have set for the year 2020 is that you wanted to have 23 inspiring interviews to honor the 23 years since the spinal cord injury
Yeah.
that has left you as Mr. Inspire. Can you talk to me about your desire for the number 23 and wanting to achieve that goal of 23 interviews?
Yeah, like every year I try to do something positive, like celebration of life, when it comes up to the September 20th. And this year I just was like, I don't know. I just said, I was like, I'm going to do 23 interviews before the end of the year. They're going to come out. That means I got to do the interviews and they have to broadcast publicly for people to see it, before the end of the year. I made that goal a week before September 20th. So it was like September 13th or somewhere around there. Right away, instantly someone reached out to me like 3 days, and I did the first one on that Sunday. Yesterday, we
Oh
reached,
my God.
right, and today, this is 25. Like,
So you
like,
have exceeded your goal.
yeah,
Wow.
above and beyond. And then here we are, the very last day of the year, and we're at 25. But I'll tell you this though, like a few days ago, I put out I put out the call to help. I put it out on Facebook. Everybody, I'm like, help me! Like I was like, look, I got 4 more left. Somebody out there, help, and I had it on Instagram and I had it on Facebook, and then everybody started sharing it, and it's like everybody went into call of action
They
in
did.
3 days that they could have went into call of action when I first started.
They
But
did. I got a
they
note
did.
from Candace Joseph was the person who recommended me to you. And I'm like, yes, I need to reach him right away. That's
Sweet.
beautiful.
Shout out to Candace. She's awesome. We did a interview together, and it was awesome. And
Oh,
she
I
went and
love
got inspired.
her.
She went and got her inspired shirt, and yeah, we had some fun. We had some fun on that interview. Yeah,
So can you tell me a little bit about the name Mr. Inspire? Why did you select that name to be a name associated with you?
I didn't select it. Other people selected it for me. Nicknames
Oh,
come from other people. Always. You don't ever wake up and go, "This is my nickname." Unless you're like a music artist or like you're going with. But no, they just kept saying it. They were just like, "Hey, Mr. Inspire." Who used to say it, who says it a lot. He was with the Dramatics, Tony Green,
uh-huh.
T Money Green. Every time he sees me, "What's up, Mr. Inspire?" Not Eric. Like I don't think he's ever said my name. So, but I had the Inspire brand. So maybe, I think he called me that before he ever knew I had the Inspire brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like, so I was like, okay, how names just kind of go with you. So they're
Now,
like, so other people started saying it, and I was like, so I just started putting in my bio with it. I was like, okay,
okay, Mr. Inspire.
yeah, that's I'm like, okay, all right.
Now, Eric, you have mentioned in this interview here that you are a hip hop artist. Talk to me about your life as a hip hop artist.
Going back to the beginning of this interview, just my love for wordplay. And from there, when I was watching MTV, I saw Fab Five Freddy, and I got introduced in the world of hip hop. And of course, you had Soul Train, where the people used to be special guests, performing artists on Soul Train. But I'm 43, so at the time that I really got like involved with it, with LL Cool J and Run DMC, was out. That's where I was just like, and then Beastie Boys came out, and I was like, oh wow. I was like, man, I just started writing. I just started doing my own writing. But then so did the kids in the neighborhood too. Like we were all together. You know what I mean? We're like, okay. So before you know it, we're writing lyrics, we're performing, with like the hairbrush or something. And then we're wrestling. So it would go to like a battle rap to wrestling in like 20 minutes or something. Because we were kids, and we were writing based on our maturity level and what we were influenced by at that time. So,
Wow.
and then it just carried. I stuck with it. Like I started wearing clothes. I started turning my shirts inside out and visualizing that I had a brand. I visualized that my own brand was on my chest. Like a name. One of the times I called it Sire. My name spelled backwards. And then Adidas Shell Toes. I definitely inspired by Run DMC from that. The parachute pants, the baggy clothes, the Skids, the Cross Colors, the Carl Kanais, the FUBU, and so on and so on and so on, like all the way. And then even middle school and high school, I still like, I have friends that listen to rock and roll and all that stuff, and I listen to it too. Like, because I'm very open minded, whatever it is. But I always, go back to hip hop. From the time I've been introduced to hip hop, it's always been, it's, that's the number one, that's always been the number one go to is hip hop. But you got to think, when I was a baby, I was, reading Mother Goose, or getting read Mother Goose books and nursery rhymes and rhyme time stuff. So that all kind of goes into a play of it. So then, even through high school, I had friends, we had groups, we had performances. And then, of course, that led all the way up into, miscellaneous. And then the shooting happened. And then our group was completely split up. I mean, that was it. We weren't a group. I mean, we weren't a group anymore. We were friends, but we weren't a group anymore. And then they said I'd never rap again. I'm on a ventilator, so I got now I got a trach, because after they take the tubes out of my throat, they put it in, or out of my mouth, they put it in my throat. So it's called the tracheotomy. So I'm breathing on this machine, and they're like, they're saying you're never gonna rap again. It's just not happening. 17 years later, I'm performing on stage in Novi at the Suburban Showplace.
Wow.
Because the D-Man Foundation, Ziaka Saab's the president, the Danny's Miracle Angel Network is what it stands for. They built the first ever barrier-free music therapy recording studio, and they also focus on assisted travel. And that's in Berkeley, Michigan, right off 11 Mile. And so with the system technology, we go in there, you meet with a music therapist, you meet with an engineer, and then you go over like achievable clinical goals and what you're going to do. It's almost like physical therapy, but it's music.
Okay.
Very similar. And now there's so many artists that's been there. Like, I mean, there's lots and lots of artists, and every artist that goes through the D-Man, we're all stars. We all are D-Man all stars. So if you ever see that, that's what that all stands for. We collaborate with each other. We have group sessions. Obviously, with the COVID right now, we have not had in-person sessions. We've just been having Zoom sessions. So that's how my music stuff started to come back. When I was introduced to the idea of D-Man, March 6th of 2010, from Ziad, I was like, I'm down. But I wasn't even thinking of me recording. I was thinking of like helping others, like mentoring them and stuff, you know what I mean? Because I already, been there. But then the one day I was just at the studio, and they were like, hey, when are you going to schedule some studio time? And I was like, yeah, that's right. I can record again, can I? I'm able to. Because before that, I still was involved with music. I still put events on, concerts. I still did promotion and all that stuff. And I did all those things. But I was always sitting on the sideline. I was always watching, supporting my friends performing. I didn't go up there. I didn't have to perform. I was always kind of the spectator, or the support of it. And then before you know it, now I'm actually performing again. Like, I'm getting calls to perform.
Yes.
Like, I'm getting messages and emails. Can you perform here at this city? Can you perform at this event? Can you perform at this event? We performed in Warren at that big, I think it's like a Lebanese festival or something. It's huge. It's right in the circle of Warren. I mean, it was huge. Like thousands of people, and we performed there. I mean, so yeah, so that's how all the hip hop stuff came back, and it's great.
So Eric, since your spinal cord injury, what's the biggest lesson that you have learned about yourself that you can use today to inspire others? Because I'm sure there may be someone watching right now who may have an injury to their spinal cord, or they may be suffering with a medical diagnosis, and they may not have any hope for the future. What would you say to someone who is going through that, and what did you learn about yourself in going through this?
Well, always have hope. Always have hope. And like with mine, I got shot. So one of the things that my healing process was forgiveness. So forgiving the person or whoever did it or whom did it, forgive.
Now, the person who did this to you, have they been apprehended?
No real investigation. There was a detective on the case, but no investigation. It's not even the police report. There's an incident report, It's not even a police report. Yeah. So forgiveness is given. So that right there is like an anchor to your ship. Cut the cord and sail, and focus and work on yourself. That will never change your life. Like that won't do anything. It won't affect your life anymore. You have sailed and you've sealed that door. So you're trying to figure out things. You're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to live? How am I going to be self-sufficient? How am I going to have a family? How am I going to work? How am I going to have a social life? All these things. Who's going to take care of me? So it's just every day you just have to, you have to like really reach out. You have to do a lot of work. You have to do work. You have to, find resources. But you have to focus that, that there's always hope. If you survive, there's hope out there. There's, and start focusing on your dreams. Like, even though if you feel like it's hopeless, like just make some goals and don't say can't, say how. Just stay in the mind frame of positive thought. I know it's hard, especially like right now in this last year, but just try to stay positive. Try to use those words when you speak them in existence. Just say like, I'm gonna do this, or like it's already happened. I'm gonna get a wheelchair accessible van. Like I'm looking at it, I'm visualizing it. This is what it looks like. This is who's there with me. It's okay. It's fine to visualize. If you want to get a house, visualize what type of house you want. Who's there with you when you celebrate and go through that door and the ribbon cuts? If there's a ribbon, I'm just saying, all the excitement that you feel it like you already claim it.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and that's the thing. And don't stop. And if there's if there's a barrier that comes in, don't worry. If you want it bad enough, it's life changing, you will go for it non-stop. No matter what barrier, any goal that's life changing, you'll do it. You don't stop. You know what I mean? If it's life changing goals, life changing dreams. So,
Eric, you are such an inspiration. I look at you and your positive energy, and you're such an inspiration to people. I just want to know, Eric, do you have anybody in your life who has inspired you? I know in your situation, you have to have a lot of love and support around you. Who are those people that are inspiring you, and who has helped you along your journey?
well, I mean, automatically you have your parents. You you pick up different things from them. It's almost like pieces of a puzzle. It's like a big puzzle of inspiration, and each piece is a person that's provided that puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in the entrepreneur field. There's people. There's family member. There's friends and family. And I think there's a good amount. Like I could say, in school, Mr. Watkins. I mean, that's who got me in thinking about college. Like I was not going to go to college. I was like, I don't like school. And he was like, you can go to school for photography. I can't. I go to college for photography. Are you serious? And then he's like, yeah. He brings in the artists to the Pittsburgh and Lansing Community College. So that right there, that's a big like shift in life. That person took that time. Ultimately, like both of my parents, very hard workers. They always worked all the time. And when they worked, they didn't own businesses, but what they worked like they worked like they owned the business.
Okay.
So I seen that, and not to mention that I lived with my mom, after that divorce. So and then my dad would pick me up, I think every other weekend. But my mom would install like things like, this is how you cook, this is how you clean, this is how you do chores, this is how this is how you do laundry. So kind of like those basic life skills, and then you want to buy something, this is how you earn money. This is how you save money. So I'm gaining financial intelligence by my mom, like, right away, like, no, this stuff doesn't just come up, and so, but where the entrepreneur stuff was inspired by, I don't know, because I did not have a family member except my Uncle Ken, but that was later on. He owned a 7-Eleven. But before that, how did I get the spirit, the inspiration to start renting my Nintendo games? Because that's an entrepreneur. That's a business. Like, and that's like in the 80s. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
only, what, that's elementary school or something. And I started renting my Nintendo games. Where did I get that inspiration from? I'm not sure because we really didn't have people in our family or friends that own businesses. So they just all worked, you know what I mean? So that, in that aspect, as I got older, there were people like Mrs. Williams, and Mr. Williams. That's my best friend's parents. Just, there's things that they did that I would say there was inspiration there. Just how they treated me as a child or their own. And I'm calling, like you would just always call them and get advice and stuff like that. These are some people that stand out. My one of my friends' mother, she was my babysitter. She stands out. The things that she did. She also read a lot of scriptures to us, as we were kids. When we were in when she was babysitting me and stuff. And she still does.
Well, that's wonderful, Eric. That
If I
is so
called her right
wonderful.
now, she would be like, "Okay, we're gonna read it. And you know what she'd say? Before we go, let's pray together or something." And I'll be like, "Okay." Terry Crews's mother, she passed
Mm-hmm.
away. You know Terry Crews, that's the actor.
Yes.
Patricia, she worked for my doctor. She was a person in my life, like almost like a grandma, like wise woman. Like we communicated a lot. In fact, she always was making me think, and she was always talking about God and prayer, and faith. She was always talking about that. One I was raising money for a van, and she gave me an envelope, and we went to open it, my caregiver and I, there was nothing in it. We sat there. I sat there for 20 minutes and tried to figure out the message that she was trying to send. And she wasn't sending me a message. She just forgot to put the check in there. But that tells you what type of a person she was. You
That is
know,
so
I'm
funny.
like, what is this message? What is she telling me? Like, what am I supposed to be seeking? You know what I
Oh.
mean? But it was she forgot to put the check, and we laughed about it.
Well,
Um,
Eric, this show is all about love. I created this platform for the purpose of spreading love. And all of my guests who appear before me on this show, I have to ask the $1,000,000 question on Speaking of Love, the podcast. And that $1,000,000 question is, how do you define love, Eric? What does
um,
love mean to you?
I guess that that's a good question because I know the love language book. So mine is action. Mine is action. So if someone was here and they were leaving, they said, "Love you." I don't, you know, but if you came here and helped me, that shows like you don't have to say it. That's the love. So that mine is like it's like action. Actionable. What does that say? What is it? Action, doing acts of action or
Yes,
I think
acts
that's
of love. Yes, I agree with you. Love is a verb, and I've read that book before. Love is a verb. Love is action. Love is you can say it with your mouth, but you have to follow it up with the actions and
yeah.
gestures and just being kind, showing other people that they matter. All of that is a form of love.
Yeah,
So
you value a person.
yes, definitely.
And
Eric, you have such a positive attitude here. And I want to know, is there something that you do every morning when you wake up to get your day on the right path?
thank God for waking me up. Yep.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you for thank you for this beautiful day. Whether it's like even yesterday it was snowing and freezing rain. I always say like thank you for this beautiful day. And then I go through this like my daily ritual in my head and stuff. And then uh and then I just like I'm there. I'm silent, for maybe 30 minutes or something. And then I
That's
start getting my
wonderful.
bed bath and stuff. My caregiver comes in. Because we start like 4:30 in the morning, we wake up, and then the caregiver gets here at 5 in the morning on weekdays. And then so usually I always want to make sure I'm appreciative of waking up again, showing gratitude and stuff. And just uh, just kind of like praying about the whole day. And then I started thinking about it too, like all the things I got to do today.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the routine. I mean, I like having a roof and having food and water and a bed and heat, or like when it's cold, or air when it's hot. My vehicle's out there. It's brand new. We just fundraised for that. Just there's so many things. There's so many blessings. There's this, and then being able to wake up and be able to work on my business. Work on Inspire brand. And easy awareness, and
Wow,
just being
that's
able to,
beautiful.
and then like and then knowing that there's a podcast, or knowing that you'll be able to get a message out and help somebody. Hopefully you're going to save somebody.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I always
Oh,
tell
yes,
people.
you're definitely doing that right now. You're
I tell
definitely
people
doing that right now, Eric.
don't be afraid to tell your story. And they're like, but I don't have a story. I'm like, don't be afraid of it. Like I make sure to tell my story wherever, wherever, in the streets, in the stores, wherever, because you don't know if that person that's listening was about to, you know, not do,
Yes. Eric, that's so true, because that's the reason that I started this podcast, was to help others, because when my father committed suicide, I knew that I would not let him die in vain. I wanted to have a message of love to be sent out to people, to know that suicide is not the answer. Love is the only way. And I wish that there had been a podcast or a radio TV broadcast, something that my dad could have watched that would have stopped him from doing what he did. So you being here today, Eric, is definitely going to inspire someone, because this video that we're shooting here, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. It's going to go on all the major podcast platforms. So the message is just not between you and me. It's going to reach massive amounts of people. And just for being here today, I truly, truly want to thank you, Eric. Talking to you has been a pleasure. You have so many wonderful things going for you in your life, and you did not let your spinal cord injury be the end of your life. And I want to know, Eric, do you have any major events coming up? What are you working on for the future? Any projects coming up?
I just got the van, and that was the We Drive to Inspire campaign. So I got the wheelchair accessible van. So now it's the house. So we live to Inspire campaign. Getting a house that's fully accessible, with the smart technology. There's a whole vision of what the house is.
Okay.
We're doing these podcasts. Everybody that I've done a podcast, like almost majority of them are like, "When's the book coming out?" Like,
Yes.
And what's really cool is about all these podcasts, I can go back and listen to them, and then take things out of them, and then make a structure for a book right out of it. Like the map, the journey
Exactly.
map. So
Exactly.
I started working on that. I think I got all the way up to maybe before I started the business, or like 2000 something. So I still got a ways to go, but it's not like completely all written out. It's just a timeline. It's like a map, almost like a storyboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one thing. For that's a big thing with,
Now, Eric,
the music and stuff right now. I don't know what we're doing.
So, Eric, what legacy are you leaving behind? When the pages of your life are reviewed, what do you most want to be remembered for here on earth?
Helping other people.
Love it.
Love
it. I love it.
Put other people before, take care of your health, but always always do for others,
That's beautiful.
Think like, that's the thing. If you start a business, it's good. Start a business, make sales, but make sure like it's something you love. But then where's your give back? Always have your give back. How are you contributing back to society? How are you,
Yes.
What's your give back?
You can't keep it all for yourself. When you've been blessed, you have to share the love. You can't keep it all for yourself.
No, like, as you're trying to figure things out, like, uplift other people too, empower them and uplift them, bring them with you. Say, look, I'm going this way. Come with me. Don't kick them and hold them back and say, no, this are this is me. No, like let's do this together. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people, there's so much, I don't know, it's like, what is it, self-centered and selfishness out there.
Wow. Well, Eric,
know?
It has been a pleasure speaking with you. It looks like our signal is fading because from my end, you keep going in and out. So we're going to wrap up the interview. Is there anything else you want our audience to know about you before we go? Anything else you'd like to say in closing?
No, always, don't say can't, always say how. That's all. It's one of my main things.
I love it.
How is the building block to that?
Yes, we have a few of our audience members here too. We have a few people in our audience. Tabitha, my girlfriend Tabitha, she says that she's in awe of the way Eric chooses to inspire. She's glad to hear this interview, and she's happy that you are now on interview 25 for the year 2020.
Yes,
and she also loves your quote, "Don't say can't, say how." Don't say can't, say how.
And I have another quote, and this is where the Inspire, where after I started wearing the Inspire, and it was, I never knew how powerful one word could be until I wore it on a shirt.
Yeah. Well, Eric, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for being here on Speaking of Love. And I would like to keep in touch with you. We are going to have to connect as soon as the COVID is over and get together and just celebrate life. Okay.
Definitely. And then, like, if anybody wants to find me, just go to Eric Patrick Thomas. Those are my social media handles. And then
I'll type it in the link here too. Eric Patrick Thomas.
Yep, that's Facebook and IG. And then the website's inspireshirt.com. Inspireshirt.com.
Okay. Inspireshirt.com. Okay, Eric, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you for being on my podcast, and we will definitely stay in touch. And I have a few other things I want to share with my audience, so I'm going to let you go now, Eric, but thank you so much for being here. It has truly been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Eric. Have a good day.
Happy New Year.
Yes, thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
That was so beautiful. That was Eric Patrick Thomas. He is an amazing young man, and I'm just so happy that he was able to come here today and share his story with us. A beautiful, beautiful, amazing story of courage, wisdom. He used his pain for a greater purpose. And I hope that each and every one of you who has seen this today have been inspired by his message of love and hope and courage. At this time, I have something special that I would like to do. Yesterday, I got a package in the mail from one of my viewers, one of my Facebook friends. She's also a viewer of my podcast. Her name is Andrea Kruger. Andrea sent me a package all the way from, I believe she lives in Pennsylvania. And she made me this beautiful, beautiful Christmas tree ornament with the word love, which is my favorite word in the English dictionary, love. She gave me this. And then I have this beautiful card with stickers. Fall in love with taking care of yourself because you are worth it. So that's from my girlfriend, Andrea. And then I have another one here. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and attention. So I have all these beautiful cards. I'm not going to read all of that. I have also a box of gourmet candy from my girlfriend, Andrea Kruger. So Andrea, I want to take a moment to thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for sending me this beautiful, beautiful gift. I will cherish it forever. And I am truly inspired by your generosity. So thank you all so much. This has been another episode of Speaking of Love. This is my 34th episode. I am super excited. And I'm coming back here Saturday for episode 35. I have another important and wonderful guests coming on Saturday. So I'll be back here this Saturday at 12 o'clock noon on Speaking of Love, the podcast. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Talk to you soon.